held accountable.
And joining me now are two members of Congress, each of whom has shared stories that they've heard or experienced of sexual harassment on Capitol Hill. Republican Barbara Comstock of Virginia and Democrat Debbie Dingell of Michigan. Welcome both. First to you, both of you, about what you've experienced and seen on the Hill. Debbie Dingell, you've talked about experiencing sexual harassment over the course of your long career.
You know, on Friday, I wasn't planning on going out and doing that Me Too moment because I know that there are consequences. And the point that I was trying to make on Friday was that there are women across the country, restaurant workers, tip waitresses, factory floors, law firms, corporations. So I don't know a woman that doesn't have a story, Andrea, in all places, all across the country. And what are we trying to accomplish from this right now? And that is to look forward. And how do we change the culture and make this it's safer for us to talk about it. But if you're from Hollywood or the media or on Capitol Hill, though I got a lot of ugly comments on Monday or Friday, but also had a waitress that was 21 years old say to me, "You spoke for me today." A woman who told me, a 22-year-old woman, that her boss told her to close the door and get up on a table to dance. Let's really make this a watershed moment that men and women across the country work together to look forward to changing the culture.
Barbara Comstock, we've been here before. I covered the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill hearings. I was on Meet the Press that Sunday during that horrible weekend, and nothing has changed over these decades.
Well, I think I serve on the committee, the House Administration Committee, that had the hearings this week, and I shared a story that had been relayed to me anonymously.
I wanted to ask you about that story.
Yeah. It was a friend of mine who told me about a victim who wanted to remain anonymous, but a current member, sitting member of Congress, I don't know if it's Democrat or Republican, I don't know who it is, but asked this staffer to come over, bring some papers, to his residence, and then arrived in a towel at the door, had the staffer come in, and then exposed himself. She left. She then quit her job and has now moved on. But my friend relayed this story to me to understand this is going on right now. And I can tell you from the hearing that we had this week, we had a lot of consensus on the changes that need to be made. I got together with Congresswoman Jackie Spear and Congressman Byrne, and we both went through all of the items in Congresswoman Spear's bill and additional things that we want to put in the bill. And we're on the same page, and we're going to get mandatory training, universal, uniform, anti-harassment, zero tolerance policies in place. We are not going to allow members to have any kind of fund pay for their harassment. That is universally agreed on. And we are also going to have better policies for the victims. So I think this is going to be a change. And I think both Debbie and I want to keep the focus on these women who are experiencing this and use our voices in this moment to change this. And we've had a great response from both the men and the women on a bipartisan basis. And like Debbie said, people are coming up to us.
One of the things that came out of your hearing, Congresswoman, is that $15 million was spent over the last 2 decades to pay off for all kinds of harassment.
And that's been incorrectly reported. We don't know exactly what portion of that is, because this includes the architect of the Capitol Police. It includes allegations against staff. So we're trying to find out.
And it's not all sexual harassment.
Correct. No, I was going to make that point.
Age discrimination and wage and hours overtime. But we are going to clearly say any kind of member harassment cannot come out of any fund. They have to pay that themselves.
And be transparent. You forgot to mention that. The other thing there's total agreement on is that if something is found, that there must be transparent, so that we're going to try to find out. One of the problems
corporate America has been doing this for years.
I mean, that's we were talking about how do we make this a movement that makes it across the country. So people do these, what infuriates me is these confidentiality agreements, so that they go and they do the settlement and nobody can talk about it. We should be talking about it on the Hill. We should be talking about it across the country. Let's look at what happened at Uber in Silicon Valley.
But let's talk about politics here. Roy Moore. 9 women have now come forward